This episode is sponsored by JDAQA Software Testing, your scalable solution for manual, automated, security, and performance testing. Check us out at jdaqa.com. And with that, let's get on with the show.
This is The First Customer, hosted by Jay Agner.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the First Customer Podcast. My name is Jay Agner. Today, I am lucky enough to be joined by Assaf Pashut. He is the founder and CEO of Chefee. They were on Shark Tank. One of my favorite episodes. Just a very cool product, something I've never seen before, something I think feels like something from the future a little bit. So, Assaf, thanks for joining me, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
So, tell me about it. Where'd you grow up, and what impact did that have, if any, on you being an entrepreneur?
I grew up in Israel and the Silicon Valley. In Israel, I think, is where I learned how to eat. A lot of food. Moms love to cook typically, and a lot of family dinners. And yeah, mom had a 9 to 5 and still somehow cooked for me and my brothers and my dad pretty much every single day. So love for food was just kind of nurtured from day one. And then Silicon Valley, I think I became an entrepreneur when I was teaching swimming and, teaching a class of 4 kids and everything was good. And I was making $11 an hour. I was so happy. I was making at least $2 an hour more than anybody else I knew. And then fortunately for me, one of the moms of the kids just asked me for private lessons for her kid. And suddenly I found myself making $25, $40 an hour and just, holy shit, actually be an entrepreneur and go straight to the source. It's silly. But yeah, around Silicon Valley, I think ended up affecting me a lot more in terms of meeting other entrepreneurs and founders. I have a friend who raised $175 million. So I had the fortune of interviewing him and learning from him. And he interviewed Eric Schmidt. Anyway, so a little bit, just little bits and pieces from different people, I think impacted me overall.
Yeah, man, it sounds like everybody I talk to validates the, entrepreneur by osmosis by being out in Silicon Valley. Like everybody has somebody that knows somebody that they met it's everywhere out there. So it's interesting to hear. So tell me, what was the first business you started after, obviously, your foray into being a swim instructor? What was the first real business you started? Or maybe that was a real business. I don't want to talk down about the business. Maybe it was a great business. I don't know. But what was the next business after that?
Well, there was a summer job to save money for Costa Rica. No, but I ended up opening when I was a senior, going into my senior year in college. I opened basically a catering business called the Flying Falafel. The food that I knew, grew up with, loved. My dream was to compete with McDonald's. That was the original vision. Opened that. And yeah, I started selling on campus. I mean, crazy stuff like driving up onto campus with my little Nissan jam-packed to the brim with equipment and started learning. And I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to cook. I knew how to eat, not cook. Anyway, manage inventory and sell. I mean, it's so many hats you have to wear. But yeah, I ended up doing that for probably too long, but over a decade, grew it into a multi-location a restaurant chain that was doing very well right up until COVID and the lockdown, and that basically sank us. So, but yeah, I actually was kind of over it at that point after like 14 years of doing it. Yeah.
That's interesting. How did you? It sounds like you kind of maybe were forced to step away or forced to, kind of business went down. But how do you handle exiting a thing that you've built over 10 years, maybe not under the best circumstances? Like, how did you deal with it mentally and emotionally? And like, maybe you were over it, but like, what was the process? Did you just sell your locations and then, settled some debt and then you were on your way? Like, what's the process to close down a business that you've run for that long?
Honestly, mentally, I'm pretty good at kind of looking at things as sunk cost, right? So we've done, let's say with Chefee, we've done like 30 iterations, and each one is the one, okay, this is it. And then you realize, wait a second, no, it's not. And you have to let go. You have to literally just say, okay, that's in the past now. You move on. And I'm exceptionally good at that for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, it's done. Let's go. Same thing with Flying Falafel. It did well. I saved money. So I'm not like, it's not like I lost everything. I'm very thankful for all the experiences and the wonderful thing. It would be amazing to exit with a lot more money, but again, it's like the skills are a lot more valuable than the extra cash. That's my thought. So,
That's a great way to look at it. All right. So tell me the Chefy story. Where did it come from? And I think people that may have seen this on Shark Tank, you also got a great video on the website, by the way. I love that kind of walk through the journey of Chefy. It's a great,
thank
very
you.
nice to put together video. But for those who haven't seen that, what's kind of the elevator version of where Chefy came from and what you guys do?
I mean, long story short, I was sitting. So I went back to Tel Aviv during COVID because everything just again was locked down and so forth. My hunch was that Israel would be past COVID much sooner than America, and so I went to Tel Aviv and just kind of messed around with music and for a few months and learned Arabic. Just like took some time off and then got bored after a few months. Started learning machine learning, and I remember while I was learning machine learning, I was staring at my and getting hungry, and thought, how freaking cool would it be if I can talk to my kitchen, have it cook for me? That's basically it. That is the vision. And yeah, and then it started ruminating in my head. I started learning how to do mechanical design using Fusion 360, and yeah, one thing led to another. I took some of my savings. I focused on people that I knew from makerspaces in San Francisco, recruited some people, and suddenly we found ourselves in an office under a makerspace in San Francisco. Me and four guys basically building the thing. It was incredible. I can't believe how quickly that happened. I will say that it was very cocky, and I thought I would done in 3 months and have $10 million. Specifically remember that.
It's good to dream big. So, and how long was that between kind of standing in the kitchen hoping before you guys had like a working prototype?
Ooh, working. So I would say our first working prototype took 9 months of work, and that was 3 months after I had the original vision. So I would say about a year
Okay.
before we had. But again, we went way too big first iteration. We built an entire commercial kitchen. Probably saw in that video with the
Right.
robotic arm.
Yep.
It was a very that's a beginner's mistake. That's a terrible.
And so, and to that point, I mean, you're 30 plus iterations in. How are you applying that lesson to the next iteration? Are you guys very focused on delivering kind of a thin slice of what something should be? You're delivering a very targeted, kind of version of what this thing is. How have you guys?
We're
'Cause I mean,
still
you're still, yeah, you're iterating a lot. What's the next iteration going to be?
still sticking to the vision of this needs to be versatile. It can't just make you flip pea soup every day. No, this thing needs to be able to make thousands of dishes from scratch uh, on a whim. So that is still the bar that we set. And actually, it's expanded since then just because we just added an air fryer integration, stuff I'm going to showcase later this month. But in terms of what I learned, this all goes back to our Bible. I'm just gonna tell you because I really think this should be the
Sure.
Bible. Anybody designing a hardware, anything hardware, it's called Insanely Simple. I don't know if you have heard of it by Ken Siegel.
No, we'll have to plug that.
I wish I had read it 3 years ago, but basically it's all about simplify, right? You can have that vision that's grandiose and ambitious,
Right.
right? And we want that straight line, point A to point B, straight line. We just don't know how to do that. So we're doing the right. But if you stick to simple, shrink down, it's not always shrink down, but typically it is shrink down, less stuff, less design, less complexity, less moving parts. You can, fifth, and that those 30 iterations would have been probably 7 iterations, so
Right.
that's the lesson. I mean, that's how I would apply it. Again, I thought I was so cocky back then, just so of course, how could I fail? $50,000, how can I fail?
Right. Yes. I think we've all been too cocky at some point. I mean, it's kind of part of being an entrepreneur, right? I think you have to have that confidence. And there's a very thin line between confidence and being, too cocky.
There's confidence,
Uh,
there's naive. There's
right.
extremely naive.
Yeah.
But you have to learn it. Sometimes people, especially people with some cocky syndrome or overconfidence or, because I did well in my restaurant and I came in with super high confidence. But you're right. There's a thin line between, oh, I'm shifting. How hard can it be? It's just,
Right.
anyway.
With the all the naive beaten out of you, I think, over those iterations and dealing
So,
with customers and all that sort of stuff. So tell me about Shark Tank, man. How did you get on? Like, was it a long process? I didn't know until somebody else told me that was on the show. You have to bring your own set and set it up and do all this stuff. So tell me about the experience. How was it?
okay. Well, the day of this of filming was absolutely the hardest day of my life in terms of stress level by far. Because this. Well, okay. So to get onto Shark Tank is a long process, right? So you apply online, pretty quick to apply, but then there's a background checks and they do an interview over the phone. And then after that, they don't call you for 3 months. And then they'll be like, well, submit a video. You made it to the next stage and this and that, and you submit a video. And then they don't call you for 3 months again. And you don't know what's going on. And then they'll tell you you're on. And you start calling your mom and your dad. And, oh, I haven't made it. Dollar signs start going through your eyes, right? And then they again call you and they go, listen, we moved you to the next season thing. Next season. Okay, that's the ninth. And now you're starting to be like, okay, wait a second. Maybe this is not even, let's not get excited anymore. Let's
Right.
just.
Right.
And then they go, okay, this is it. We're going to film. This is your film date. You got to come down to LA. And again, get excited, but they keep telling you, you may not air. Meaning you may come off here. You may even get a deal. No guarantee. They're constantly in this gray zone. It's really stressful.
Right.
But yeah, like you were saying, so some people come up with they come down with an app or a little gadget, whatever, and they show it and everything's good. We had to build we had to build a whole kitchen and we did
Right.
it ourselves. We didn't pay anybody because we're still a small team and we just don't spend like most started to do after hearing about all the horror stories of people burning so much money. But anyway, we built it. We got there. We had to disassemble it to move it to another set. This and that, and so many moving parts. And even the app, if the app loses Bluetooth because I'm a little too far, the whole thing goes to shit.
Right. Right.
So, but if you saw the episode, somehow miraculously, sorry, let me turn off my WhatsApp notification here. Miraculously, everything worked. And it went great. I mean, as far, obviously they're gonna give pushback on anything, especially we're coming in with $12 million valuation and zero sales. So I get
Right.
it I get what they were saying. So, but it went great. I almost couldn't have wished better outcome.
What was the biggest actual applicable lesson, whether it was the business or the product or whatever? Like, what was the biggest thing you actually went back and implemented that you heard from the sharks in the show?
So I think we paid a lot more attention, but this is something we already paid attention to, which is big partnerships with, let's say, Blue Apron or Wolf Sub-Zero, large manufacturers. There's a little bit more emphasis on that, though not 100%, just because we actually, I would think the most difficult part is developing the product. It's extremely complex to get there. Once you
Hmm.
get that and you've got patents, which we now have, we actually have a huge opportunity to enter the market without needing the big boys to kind of wing us, right?
Right.
And so we're not at the point where we have to beg anybody, please take us, give us a contract. We're not at that point. We're past that. And so, but yeah, I don't know. The other things, let's see. I don't know. Oh, adding the air fryer integration was pretty cool. I think that might have been because Lori asked us if we can bake a potato.
I love that. So yeah, all right. So baked potatoes from Lori is a good addition. Well, very cool. So how are you guys targeting customers today? And who is your customer? Like, who are you trying to go after? Who's going to buy one of these things? Is it like is it rich people? Is it, home, what do they call it? Like home construction companies that are building these things? Well, who are you guys going after?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's a couple of angles. One is direct to consumer, which we designed Chefee so it can be installed in a couple of hours, literally in a single afternoon. You can install this with no renovation to your kitchen and have this futuristic Jetsons experience where you now can talk to your kitchen. So the fact we designed it that way means we don't need a middleman. We can go direct to consumer. That's huge. Who's our customer? There's already a bunch of people that have paid us to reserve their Chefee. Okay. And who are they? They're people, yes, they're high income. Absolutely. We're starting with a high price point for sure. The price will eventually go down, and our goal is to be in millions of homes, of course. But we are starting the kind of Tesla model, right? High, low volume. Who are these people? High income, very health conscious, usually have the kids or love to host
Mm.
their families, their friends, and they're food lovers. They love food. They love trying new dishes, but they're extremely busy. Often they're
Mm.
career oriented, or they hate cooking, or they just don't like all the hassle of shopping and thinking of the next meal and the recipes. And so they just want really good food, really healthy food. They're oftentimes are also they're athletic. So they like, right? One of our investors he's a gym rat. He's very fit and he hates cooking. He just wants good food fitting to his meal plan, the right
Mhm.
nutrients and so forth. And he doesn't want to think about it. So,
Right.
so those are our customers. Now, the B2B angle, of course, is kind of like what you mentioned. I would say less builders and more luxury Airbnb. So
Mm.
premium Airbnb. Again, think about it this way. Builders, there's a long sales cycle, right? You have to present and then this, and then after that, and then it could be multiple years to get in,
Right.
right? It's not that we're not going in that direction. Well, we don't need to wait 3 years. We have a product that can be installed in existing kitchens. So,
Mhm.
so if we can prove to Airbnb hosts that installing a Chefee now can elevate your price per night by, let's say, 10%, 5%, 15%, that's a very
Mm.
interesting value proposition.
That's very cool. I would never even have thought of that. Where did you get that idea? Where did it come when did it hit you?
It is come to us. So people come to us and say, hey, I have an Airbnb. It's very premium. Can I get a Chefee installed? And then, right, light bulb goes off. Wait a second. Maybe that's our customer. Yeah.
Right. No, that's brilliant. I like that a lot. And how are you guys marketing this to those folks? Are you just doing direct outreach? Is there some plan you guys have? Do you have people doing it? Like, what's the plan?
Yeah, yeah. So we actually haven't launched our full scale marketing as a marketing campaign yet. We mainly focus on developing the best possible product we can. Then Shark Tank elevated our marketing, just got us out there to everyone. Now we're at SKS tomorrow. I'm speaking on a panel alongside Suvi, Molly, GE, Whirlpool, some big name. Samsung Food is going to be there speaking. So they got our name out there. But next month, very early next month, we'll be showcasing that beta 2 model that I mentioned to you earlier. And we'll have to do some marketing. It's going to be exciting, man. I mean, I think of all the possibilities. We have this idea of Chefee versus chef, right? A blindfolded tasting experience, or Chefee versus
Right.
mom, right? Something like
That's
that could be
cool.
really fun. But look, it's a product that it's so interesting and so novel that I think it lends itself to just organic marketing. I mean, we do
Yeah.
food and I think it's gonna be good. It's gonna be great.
No, I love it. I think it's very cool, man. All right. All right. Well, non-business related and
Yeah.
maybe even not maybe non-food related. I don't know if
Let's,
you can pick the answer to this question. If you could do anything on earth and you knew you couldn't fail, what would it be?
I could do anything on earth and I knew it wouldn't fail. Sounds boring. Knew it couldn't fail.
Or you knew you couldn't fail?
Knew it couldn't fail. The failure is what keeps it interesting. I don't.
That's fair. That's fair.
If I knew it couldn't fail, I would. I don't know. I knew it couldn't fail. I would love to get it into medicine. That's my background. I was trained as an EMT. I studied a lot of pre-med. I would love to get into medicine. I remember thinking of wanting to become a doctor and then realizing that doctors are almost only as good as their tools, right?
Hmm.
And so if you become a doctor, you can help one person at a time, usually, right? Unless you're, right? But if you then you invent a tool that doctors can use, you can help millions of people.
Hmm.
So I suppose that direction.
I like that. Or maybe you could just make like a medical chefy that just like, pulls all the pieces together and like, can do surgery. Well, very cool, man. I love the story. I absolutely love the product. Where can people find more about Chefee and more about you if they want to reach out directly?
Fee.com.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And LinkedIn or anything if people want to send you a message or reach out.
Instagram.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right,
Robotics.
man. Well, good luck at your show. Good luck with the product. Like this is one that I find very interesting. And I think a lot of people find, like you said, the Jetsons thing is like something to lean into because it certainly seems futuristic and like the next wave of, eating in your house, having a robot do it for you and talking to your kitchen. So absolutely love it. Love the story, brother. Be good. Thank you for being on and we'll catch up again soon. All right.
Alrighty.
Thanks, man.